Welcome. Thank you all for coming today. Today I am speaking on instant influence and persuasion. And I came up with that title about a month ago, actually, and I didn't really comprehend the words in that title. So I actually went to the dictionary and looked them up. And it turned out to be the perfect explanation of influence and persuasion and fits right in with everything I'm going to talk about. So just thinking about the word instant, it denotes now. It denotes in this moment, not in the future, not in the past, but right now. You know, immediately, very American. We want it now. We want to experience it now. So we're not putting it off. Next comes influence, and I was very surprised that the original meaning of the word influence had to do with astrology. Back in the day, people used to think that an ether came from the stars and came down and affected people in unseen ways. And so that's where influence in its original form came from. So the second definition was a person or thing that its effects are unseen on that person. And the third was a person or group with a person or group who has indirect effect through their wealth or through their power. That was the third form of influence in the dictionary definition. And of course, is self-explanatory, conjunction also included. And then persuasion is actually an action word, which I wasn't aware of. I was thinking it was more of a noun, but it's actually the action word of being persuaded or persuading. So to persuade means to cause to do something. So persuasion is an action of persuade. So right now, as we're all sitting here, we are all instantly, in this moment, affecting each other in unseen ways and causing them to do something, whether we like it or not. So we all have that level of influence and persuasion on each other. So out of that, what does that mean? Well, I've identified about 3 levels that I've experienced over time and that I move up and down through. There's no right or wrong to these levels. They're just different levels to identify and kind of see where you're at. And each level has its own, you could say, drawbacks as well as rewards. The first level is what I would call intimidation. So this is the level of the law, do this or else, of dictators, of the drill sergeant, of you are using influence and persuasion through force. You are requiring this person to do this, or there are consequences that are dire. The drill sergeant, the power and control that you're trying to get them when you're trying to do something. Generally, it's not that satisfying for the person on the receiving end, as well as the person doing the pushing. It generally doesn't get them satisfied, so they keep doing it more and more and more. This is the level of a lot of law in our society. If you break this law, then there's a consequence. And so it influences and persuades people out of fear. And generally it's not the most satisfying or rewarding at that level. And the metaphor for that could be the red light at the top of a stoplight. So that's one way to peg that. The second level is what I call traditional persuasion. It's how we usually think of persuasion when we bring that up. And that is a form or way of communicating with people to get an outcome that you want. Not necessarily what they want or what is in their best interest, but it could be the used car salesman. He is full of fear. He wants to make the sale really bad. He's going to get the sale no matter what, whether it's in your best interest or not. He's going to make you sign the paperwork. So he's going to put a smiley face on all of that fear, all of that doubt, and he's going to try and move that through using his influence and persuasion of, yes, I'm trying to help you. Yes, I'm trying to serve you. Yes, I'm trying to make things best for you. But ultimately, it's what's going to benefit him. He's not truly looking out for your best interests. It could be certain guys on dates. They have this niceness, sweetness about them, but they really have an ulterior motive. Yeah, I'm happy being friends. That's great. It can be a lot of sales situations. We all move through these levels. We all have desires, we all have wants, we all have dreams, we all have goals. This level 2, is traditionally where a lot of people are. And there's no right or wrong with that. It's just the way it is. It's better than level 1. You get more results than you do level 1, especially in business, because you don't want to really make people afraid of you in business through intimidation. Generally doesn't work. And so in the society, a lot of people are at level 2. They kind of shut down, have a mask, hide what they truly think and what they truly feel, and they go for the result, and they're afraid if they let people know that they're going to lose the sale, they're going to lose the business, they're going to lose this. So it's kind of a level 2 level of influence and persuasion. Now, level 3 is what I call revelation. And that level 2 is the yellow light. Level 3 is the green light. So revelation is letting down those walls, those boundaries, and being truly open and honest in every area for the other person to know that and to feel that and to sense that, to see that. And it's a true attitude of service, a true attitude of giving, and truly wanting to help the other person, not expecting anything in return. Not expecting or demanding or secretly wanting something from somebody, but you're truly wanting to help them. And the question is, how do you get from, say, level 1 or level 2 and exist more in a level 3? And none of these are right or wrong. These are just different ways of being, and how much influence, how much persuasion, excuse me, do you want to have in your experience? Each level has more and more influence and persuasion, causing an unseen effect in people around you and causing them to do something out of love versus fear, out of enjoyment versus pain. And at each level is a little more successful and a little higher influence, and less effort is required than the force and the pain. So level 3, level of revelation, your walls are down. You are comfortable expressing who you are, where you are in your business, in your life, and whatever it is. And in that comfort, people sense that, people are drawn to that, and people want to do things for you, just like you want to do things for other people. So the question is, how do you get from that level 1, level 2 to level 3? And one of the easiest ways is through conscious practicing of certain processes or techniques, what they call rapport. Now, rapport is a harmonious relationship, an agreement between two people, essentially. So the way to get to level 3 is through relationships. First of all, the most important relationship is yourself. Second, your relationship to others. And in that relationship to others follows the rapport, creating that harmonious agreement between people. So the techniques for doing that, one of the most powerful actually is the breath and how you breathe. And so if people want to stop for a second and try a little experiment. So just look across the table at each other and just think. Nothing's particular, just observe. No big deal. Notice any judgments come up if you are questioning yourself, if you are doing whatever it is. And do this about 30 seconds and just see what comes up. If you're judging yourself, if you feel uncomfortable, if you think this is stupid, whatever it is.
So we're looking at each other. Oh, I'm judging you.
Okay, that's good enough. And so notice, make a mental note of what you experienced in that time. Now this time we'll do it again, but this time match the person's breathing rate. If they breathe with the upper chest, match that with them. If they breathe with the belly, match that with them. Look at them and think or say out loud, "I acknowledge you."
I acknowledge you. He's breathing. I wasn't breathing. Me either. I didn't think so. Again, and are sneaky. We quit breathing. Yes, but I think.
And see if there's a difference between the two experiences.
I'm not very well.
The first one is generally you're full of judgments, you're full of, just a mind chatter that limits you from really experiencing yourself or another person, and it breaks rapport. The second is you're focusing on the other person, acknowledging them, and allowing them into that system. And so what may seem like these techniques may seem like a second level manipulation or control, because you're trying to get into the other person's world. It's really the ultimate respect. Just like nobody goes and takes candy from a baby, I don't think.
I really like candy.
Because they don't have that need anymore to get things in that way. And so as you raise your ability to feel and sense other people, to see them, to hear them, you don't need to go to the manipulating or the controlling aspect of that. It raises you up into that third level more and more and more. Breathing is just one of the many ways. Another way is what they call eye accessing cues, which is which way you look when you're asked a question. So I'll do the left side of the table. I will ask a question to you guys, and the right side, just observe their eyes. If you guys would look at each other. So left side, what color was your first bedspread that you had as a child? And notice their eyes.
You mean like rolling?
Yeah, they have to go off. Up is the visual
To
mode.
think.
Yes, to think, to
Okay.
access the answer. Now the right side,
Knew, because he looked straight ahead.
did he answer
He
it
could
though?
probably tell us the color and the pattern.
I just assumed it was white.
And so the left side here, sorry, the right side, I'll ask you guys a question, and then the left side here will observe you. So go ahead and look straight forward at them. And what is the first song that you guys remember? Your favorite song? First song? Audio? First song you remember hearing? And tell them the answer.
Twinkle, twinkle.
See, but you have to look away. Did you guys notice how they had to look away to access that information stored in the brain? So up is the visual mode. You're going for visual information. Straight across is the auditory. Down and to the left generally is talking to yourself. Down and to the right is accessing a feeling. Remembered hit or trauma. And so the left side is the library, where you're going in for memory. The right side is the constructed, where you're creating. So I'm creating a picture, I'm remembering a picture, I'm creating audio, I am remembering audio, talking to myself, feeling. So those are different ways of entering other people's worlds and seeing what they're doing when you ask them a question, how they process information. And it also shows up in their languaging. So how many of you truly see what I'm saying? Anyone see what I'm saying? I mean, raise your hand. Okay. How many of you hear what I'm talking about? Do you hear me? Okay. How many of you feel it? Okay. So those are different ways of languaging. And it shows up in their language with their lead sense of how they process their world through the five senses. They all build a map out of that and create their experience out of that map of the five senses. But we project, in relationships, we project onto other people what we are dealing with within ourselves. So some of the other ways as well are called anchors. Like whenever I hear Ryan Matthew Cackley, I know I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, that is an anchored way back to a past experience of every time I got in trouble, they use that languaging, the tone, the tonality, what they call sensory acuity. And in relationships, it gets totally askewed, completely, because you start projecting your own fears onto the other person, your own insecurities. And they think they know that you're right. So anchoring, for instance, what I did in this presentation is the stoplights. So the red light, what does that represent?
stop.
Okay. In the presentation, what does it represent?
The first level of
First level.
intimidation.
Intimidation. And the green light,
Revelation.
level 3. And then the yellow is level 2. So every time you go out driving now and you see a stoplight, you're going to think, okay, which level am I at and which one do I choose to be at? That's an anchoring for future experience. I'm curious to see your feedback as well as you go and drive and think, okay, which level? Oh, wait, dang it, I don't want to think about Okay, so it's choosing which level you want to live at and then starting your mind and your process and your business going that way for increased influence and increased persuasion.